welcome everyone. We're so excited about February's Coffee and Commerce featuring the City of Alpharetta's Mayor, Jim Gilvin, and team, Kathi Cook, and Morgan Rodgers. There will be official introductions yet to come, but I want to welcome you all. Thank you, Rick Hancock, because we are learning a bit more about one another, and at the end of the day, we're human. We're working on ourselves every single day, and you've given me a lot of inspiration. So thank you for sharing, and we will continue to do this. And we do hope to be able to do this in person very soon. Let's get started. No sense wasting any time. You're all very busy professionals. We want to get you on your way. But it's so important for us to hear the updates about our city. So many exciting things going on in Alpharetta. So I'm going to turn it back over to Rick Hancock, who is the CEO of My Life, and that's a digital marketing company. He is in partnership with Michael Grillo, who has served in the past. You may have met Michael as our producer on many of our virtual events in 2020. So just a great team, and Rick is now serving on our board of directors. So great to have you as my co-host here, Rick. And I'd like to turn it over to you now as we move through our program this morning. I do want to welcome all of our new members. Thank you so much. We had such a great end of the year with over 15 new members in December. So thank you. We welcome you and excited to get you plugged in this year.
All right. Well, thank you, Deborah. So yes, looking forward is, we look back in the icebreaker. Now we're looking forward to what's going to take place in our great city and great, all the great things. And we're going to have a list of, if you see me taking my reading glasses off and on, is because I can't see. So joining us today will be Mayor Jim Gilvin, Kathi Cook, who's the Director of Community and Economic Development, and Morgan Rodgers, Director of Recreation Parks and Cultural Services. Deborah, I am going to toss it back to you so you can kind of set it up a little bit more. I know we're playing table tennis right now, on how you want this to flow.
Well, absolutely. I think our mayor is ready. Jim, I don't see you on the screen, but we're looking forward to hearing from our mayor now. So, Jim Gilvin, I welcome you to the platform.
Good morning, Deborah.
Okay, here we go.
Good morning. And we are going to use the chat feature for any questions. We will have Q&A at the very end of this program this morning. Welcome, Mayor. So glad to have you. Please share with us an update from the City of Alpharetta.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's exciting, actually. I was thinking about it earlier. The job title of mayor, in a large part, is just be the salesperson for the city, to be the face of the city in a lot of events and things like that. And one of the things I actually miss the most is the opportunity to talk about our city and tell people about all the great things that are going on, because I think historically the City of Alpharetta has done a really good job of doing things, but we don't always do a great job of telling about what all we're doing. And so the good work of our employees is often overlooked. And so I appreciate this opportunity. Look forward to the next time when we can do it in person, but hey, at least we're doing it. And so I want to thank Rick and Deborah specifically for inviting me and putting this together, and everybody here. I want to thank all of you, everybody that's on this call. I'm very proud of the job the City of Alpharetta and our 450 employees have done over the past year of adapting to a very difficult climate. And, I think as a community, we've also done a great job. And too often, I know every one of us, me included, and everybody on this call, has had times over the past year where it has been extremely difficult. It's been challenging. We faced issues and things that we never anticipated. We've had to adapt in our business lives. We've had to adapt in our family lives. And so there's been a tremendous amount of unusual pressure on us. And it's thanks to the good work of people like yourselves, making decisions that were really thoughtful, that were deliberate, that were cautious but aggressive. as far as what's best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for your clients, and what's best for all of us as a community. And the outpouring of support from so many of you has been great. The chamber, the efforts y'all have made over the past year to support our small businesses and the entire community, it has been tremendous. So give yourself a round of applause, because we've all been in this together, and we couldn't have done it without you. So I'm grateful for all the efforts y'all put into this as well. I thought I'd take a few minutes and just kind of talk about where we are now, what we see coming forward, and what we'll be doing moving forward from the City of Alpharetta's perspective. So quick recap, if you think back to a year ago, it was a very different place. I remember talking earlier last year about Alpharetta is a very unique community, and we still are. But some of the things that made us unique a year ago, that made us successful a year ago, have really changed dramatically. One of those things that I talked about a lot a year ago is a lot of people didn't realize that the City of Alpharetta was different than most communities because we are a major employment center, and our daytime population a year ago was almost double what our nighttime population is. For example, most of the cities around us, their daytime population is about the same as their nighttime population. Roswell, Johns Creek, Milton, they have about as many people that commute out during the day as commute in. City of Alpharetta has a nighttime population of about 67 to 70,000 people. But a year ago, because of the office parks, the tremendous amount of people that would come into our city every weekday to work in the offices, to shop in our malls and Avalon and things like that, almost doubled. And so the projections were we had between 120,000 to 130,000 people in our city every day. So let's fast forward to now. Once COVID hit, that dramatically changed. The major employers started working from home. Everybody had to work from home at some point, unless it was essential service. And so that drastically changed the economics of our city. It's impacted, and I'm sure, if not all of you, most of you, because when you take a city that's built on an economy of 120,000 people a day, and then you cut that population overnight into about 60 or 70,000 people a day, it changes everything. That's one of the reasons our hotels, our shops, our stores have had a difficult time at just trying to thrive in that environment. And so that's one of the major challenges that we faced. We've had some issues. Alpharetta has become quite a hospitality center. We've grown to almost 30 hotels. By the end of this year, we should have 30 hotels. And a lot of that business that helped those hotels thrive also helped our smaller stores, our restaurants, and other industries of hospitality. And that's dramatically changed. Our occupancy in our hotels now is down to about 50% of what it was a year ago. And that's thousands of people a day that aren't in our community shopping and spending money and enjoying the environment that we've created here. So that's a big change. Another thing's changed, not necessarily a bad thing, it could be viewed as a positive, is the fact that we used to really have an issue with rush hour traffic. It was, for as long as I can remember, that's one of the biggest complaints from the business community and from the residents here in Alpharetta. And it's been a major concern for us as a local government. The traffic was brutal. And fortunately, over the last year, although we would have preferred not to lose all that traffic, at least now that's not an issue. And it comes at a good time, because right now the City of Alpharetta has been working for the last decade with Department of Transportation, our neighboring cities and things like that, on traffic solutions. And so just as we are about to begin deploying some of these projects, in addition to the ones already completed, like Rucker Road and the nearly complete Kimball Bridge Road, we've got about $200 million worth of transportation projects on the drawing board. They're in planning stages. They're about to be begun, as far as McGinnis Ferry Road, Old Milton Parkway, the Georgia 400 flex lanes and things like that. So, we no longer have the daytime population we used to have. Our hotels and the hospitality industry is still suffering from the impacts of COVID. Traffic isn't where it is, but there is an upside to that. So it is a very different environment that we're all operating in today. And so that's what we have to be cognizant of, is many of the troubles we have experienced are the result of that lack of daytime population. And so that's a big focus for us on a local level now, is there's only so much we can do to influence that. I know early few months of the COVID, I worked very hard with our city council and major businesses in Alpharetta, our major employers, to talk about, no one back then, no one anticipated us still being in the same position 11 months later. So we worked very proactively trying to figure out how we could facilitate getting people back into the offices, doing those types of things that a local government can do to influence that. But after a while, we finally came to the realization that the fact is most companies have had to adapt to the environment. Their primary concern, as it should be, is the safety of their employees, the safety of their customers, and the ability just to keep their businesses afloat. And I'm sure y'all are facing those same decisions. So our ability to influence that daytime population directly is very limited. I think that's going to depend primarily on the vaccine and just societal changes as those cases begin to drop. For those of you that watch the caseloads or don't watch the caseloads on a daily basis, we watch them very closely here in the city of Alpharetta, and they post daily reports from the county. And you can tell dramatically, the upswings and the downswings. Back in July, when there was a lot of unexplicable activities at times, as far as protests and riots and things like that. And there was a lot of people that were coming in contact with each other, and the cases shot up in July. Then we kind of were able to quell that spread, got in a pretty good place around October and November with a very low rate of spread of virus. Then unfortunately, I think everybody just had finally had enough. They were tired of not being able to see their families. And over the holidays, of course, the cases began to go up a good bit, but now they're plummeting just as quickly as they went up. We're back to a place where we're moving in the right direction, and that vaccine is being distributed as quickly as it possibly can, which should make a much better impact as far as the daytime population and people's willingness to open their businesses back up and bring people back together in person. So we're looking forward to whatever the city can do to help facilitate that, while recognizing that there are certain limitations. So those are the challenges. And one of the things, though, that we've learned over the last few months is the thing that made Alpharetta great to begin with, and I talked about this a lot in the past, and I'll continue to do so, is Alpharetta has a history of being a very unique place. And one of the reasons we attract so many people is because we provide a very unique balance of being a great place to live, to raise a family, and to do business. And when you look around the world, there are very few places that can brag about having the balance of such a great, safe community, great public schools, high quality of life. I mean, there's just so many things that make it attractive if you want to grow your business because of the business climate, but also a place to live and raise your family. And those basic things that have served us well in the past are even more important now. For months we heard, projections and ideas. Oh, well, now that the virus has changed things dramatically and people are talking more about safety, it's less attractive to have a high-rise office building in a downtown core urban environment. And there were projections of how that could actually benefit suburban communities. There were discussions about transit. In a COVID conscious environment, do people really want to be on buses and in trains as much as they used to? And there's a lot of different things that were projected months ago. What we're finding out is that those projections are coming true. If you look at the statistics, people are fleeing and businesses are fleeing. Many of the communities that have had the highest rates of growth in the urban cores over the last decade. If you look up in the Northeast, in the New York, New Jersey area, California, Chicago, there's a tremendous change in the priorities of employers, businesses, and employees and their families. And because Alpharetta has spent so much time and invested so much energy and money in creating a good, safe suburban environment, we're starting to see those fruits pay off. Most of it had been conjecture, but if you saw last week, Global Payments, one of the largest financial processing firms in the world, has a huge office building complex down in Midtown Atlanta. They just announced last week they're moving employees to cover up, I think, 200,000 square feet that they've just leased on Marconi Drive over there in a low-rise, large office building within walking distance to Jekyll Brewing and the Greenway. And so I think that's just the first indication of where the future lies for Alpharetta. And it's an encouraging one. Like I said, we had hoped that the projections were true, but what we're seeing is that people are really changing their lives and companies are changing their priorities. As millennials are beginning to get older and to start to settle down and raise families, the attraction for many in that age group is no longer an urban environment where they're close to the bars. They value having a nice, safe community where they don't have to raise their children paying $60,000 a year in private school tuitions and things like that. So there's a lot of good things on the horizon for us. And I'm proud that we've got a tremendous team here in the city of Alpharetta that, one, has set this environment in place to begin with and has throughout the past 12 months continued to work on ways to not only keep it that way, but to improve it. And so I'm not going to get into too many of the details because I want to give plenty of time to Kathi and Morgan. Them and their teams are going to be doing tremendous things over the next few years. They continued throughout the last year to provide extraordinary service, to keep facilities and things moving forward. And not only that, but to keep their eyes on the ball far ahead. Instead of just trying to grind it out day to day and suffer through a COVID environment, they've been working on plans of how we re-envision a lot of the corridors in Alpharetta. One of the things we've noticed over the past couple of years is 8 years ago, we had no lost you there. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't lose you for too long. My hand must have accidentally hit the mute button. So I'll go back a few seconds. What I was saying is we've done a tremendous job over the years of maintaining that environment that attracts people and businesses and things like that. But what we're working on now is continuing that in the future. We've learned from the successes of Avalon and the development of City Center, and it's actually reinvigorated the west side of town. You know, 20 years ago, everything new was being built on the east side of town, the neighborhoods, the office buildings and things like that. And because of the energy that we've created as a community on the east side of town, now that's the new sexy place where the businesses want to be and the office buildings want to go. And so our team within community development and within Parks and Rec are looking at ways that we need to work together to create that same energy back on the east side again. Some of the office parks are still attractive, but they don't have the amenities as much as some of the newer ones in other markets and on the east side of town. They don't have the walkability. They don't have some of the park space and the connections and things like that. And so a lot of our energy over the next few years are going to be focused on, okay, what's the vision for the North Point corridor? There along, you know, between Mansell and Haynesbridge Road. And Kathi, I hope will tell you a lot about that. She's the one that makes it all happen. Same thing for Brookside Park on Old Milton Parkway and up on Windward Parkway. You know, right now we're making tremendous improvements with connections to the Greenway and some other things. But we see the next few years that a lot of our major employers will probably be changing their footprints because of work from home policies and you know, just the environment now is a lot more flexible. So some of our major employers may actually downsize their footprint some. The good news is that as they continue to adjust, we expect other new employers to be moving in from the Pacific Northwest, the West Coast, other areas of the country, and also from in-town Atlanta. So we expect us not to really lose anything. We expect us to be a net gain in the longer run, the 4 to 5 years. Just going to spend the next few years making those adjustments accordingly. And the city of Alpharetta has to make sure we manage that process as well. And we invest what limited resources we have wisely, because much like I'm sure y'all have noticed the impact on your business's pocketbooks over the past year, the city of Alpharetta no longer has the same revenues we did before. So we've got more challenges with fewer revenues. But the good news is that because we have pulled together as a community, we have shown the resilience to work together in a really difficult environment and still excel in so many ways and still have such a great, attractive place for people to live, work, do business, and invest. We're still thriving in this environment. And as things tend to brighten, if we return to some more of a sense of normalcy, I expect them to continue to improve, hopefully very quickly. So that's kind of where we are and what we see in the future. You know, we're going to spend our time focusing on those things that continue to carry our message, to continue to back it up. You know, it's one thing to say that you're a great place to live and do business, but you got to maintain the policies in place. You've got to maintain the infrastructure in place, and you've got to make sure that you provide an environment where public safety is a priority, because if you're not providing that, then nothing else a local government does. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. I know we've got a lot of road projects and we know we've got a lot of improvements planned, but right now I think our staff is preparing to really hit the ground running with the resources that we make available for them. And I think we're all going to be in much better shape in 6 months. That's really all I wanted to say. I know we'll take questions later, and I'll reserve the rest of my time for the people that actually get stuff done in this city, because I know Kathi and Morgan are going to have a hard time talking about everything they've got to talk about.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate everything you're doing. I'm a newbie compared to probably others on this call. 8 years. I'm sure people have been here a lot longer, and I just shake my head. When I moved here, Avalon, it was trees. You know, it didn't even exist. So I'm sure that you probably shake your head. I'm assuming you shake your head like, you know, like I can't believe how much this city has grown. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll try to get questions at the end. If you want to throw some in the chat, go ahead, or we'll try to call on you. I'd like to introduce Kathi Cook now. She's the Director of Community Development. Kathi, thank you for everything you're doing, and we're excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. And I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see if this will work. Everybody see that? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So gosh, I recognize a lot of you this morning. It's really cool to see so many people that I worked with, like early on when COVID hit, calling Ron, what do we do? You know, what's some good ideas? So he really, you know, so many of you helped us to kind of figure this out. And Ted Schwartz, you know, I bother you all the time about where we are with office. So it's really neat to do this and just see so many people in the community that I've worked with. So good morning. And thank you for your help. Always when I do those, you know, those emails and, you know, what's going on. So I appreciate, you know, everybody that's helped. So I'm going to just touch on a couple of things that are going on. And then of course, you know how to get me if you have additional questions or you want to talk more about something. So quickly, gosh, business has been good this year compared to 2019. You would think that there would be some differences in that, but if you look, commercial, 16 permits in 2020, 2019, 19, so there's not a lot of difference. We, of course, stayed open. So, we wanted to make sure that all of those different projects, people, they have closings. We want to make sure that that was still happening for people. And really, I kept telling my staff, we went through the 2008, the recession, that we needed to make sure that construction still could carry forward. So pretty interesting how close those numbers were. And of course, I'm sure you've all seen, residential is booming. And like the mayor talked about, we have a lot of people that are moving here. So residential, of course, and I know that there's a lot of realtors on this call, what I'm hearing is just not enough out there. So it's interesting, the dynamics of that's doing so well in the last year. So probably a lot of you have already heard in the downtown. I'll just touch on that, what's going on. The Maxwell is open. They have the Ponco's Chicken, the Italian Fishery and Grill. Shake Shack, of course, they announced on Haynes Bridge. That's actually a tear down of the old Burger King that's located at Haynes and Old Milton. And then we have Up on the Roof that is going to go on the taller building that's Liberty Hall. What's interesting about Up on the Roof, they have one other location that's in downtown Greenville. And they're actually owned by Ruth's Chris. So it's, they have a great reputation in Greenville. So we look forward to working with them. These two things are the Shake Shack as well as the Up on the Roof. They're going to the Design Review Board this month. So pretty cool to watch what happens. And then Theo's Bakery, Theo's brother bakery, they were getting started before COVID, and this is their second location. Of course, they have one in Crabapple, but this is the second location that will be located on Marietta Street in the downtown. And it's good to see these, restaurants that are coming back, so they see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel to go ahead and get started. We also have office, small office buildings, and what we're seeing is a trend for these smaller office buildings, and this is in the downtown. This is on North Main, kind of at the intersection of Cumming Street. That's the location on North Main. So they've submitted for permitting. They've said it'd take about 15 months to get this constructed. And, I've talked to different people in the office leasing world that has said that, a lot of people looking for small office space, which is also, of course, a good sign for the downtown. I want to touch on the Alpha Loop and where we are with that. Hopefully a lot of you have had time to go to the section that's completed, the 1 mile section that takes you from downtown to Avalon. So from that, we also have another piece that's completed that starts within Northwinds. And council just approved about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, the little dotted section that you see that's going over from Haynes Bridge over to Encore. And then, of course, the plan in the future is to tie into the Greenway. This is going to be very important for North Point. We don't have funding for this. We just approved for the concept. And, the Fulton Science Academy worked with us, and I think they were on the call, giving us the easements kind of early on to help to facilitate this. And so that's another thing I think that is great about Alpharetta is that all of the community helps us to be successful. And those of you that have worked with me to try to further this multi-use trail, it's just been a phenomenal experience to work with you and further this. And for those of you that don't know, the multi-use trail is something that's a little bit, the idea was to connect the stuff. That's what we always say. It's actually so people can use it to travel to work, go to restaurants, recreation. We have found that the hoteliers like this because somebody may come in for the weekend, but come in for the week for a conference, but then decide to stay for the weekend. The office workers like it because it's an amenity. And then, of course, existing residents. We're really excited that we just found out that we had applied for $500,000 and we were successful through the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. We will have a match of $500,000. And this grant will actually enable us to finish the piece that you see here in yellow. And this map is flipped. Sorry, it's actually up on here is west. So if you look at Haynes Bridge, Old Milton Parkway. We have that little section that's coming through from off of Old Milton. And then we have a section that's under construction within Atlee Place, lines up with DeVore, the Maxwell that I just talked about, they're building a section. So with this money, this will enable us to finish, and we'll have another complete loop. So what's great about this is just moving forward. You can see the area that's in green behind with the yellow that's attached to the yellow. We've also applied for a grant that we'll hear in about 4 or 5 weeks. And that's a big one. That's about $3 million. And we have a match with that if we're successful, but that will give us the funds needed to complete the rest of that section. And I think there was someone from Village Tavern on the call. So thinking about, Village Tavern early, I think we've been talking to the owners there for probably since the beginning of this, over 4 years ago. And they were excited from day one about this. So again, we're thankful for our partnerships through here. And then going to North Point. North Point is we're very excited about what's going on. We'll talk about the mall a little bit more in a minute, but Northwind Summit, of course, they have their rental product that's under construction. They had submitted a hotel, which it had gone through the approval process, actually March, April, when we went back to virtual design review board meetings. That's on hold right now. However, the rental has moved forward with some retail that's going to be on the first floor. Tech 360 across the street. This is news. I just met with them 2 days ago. They wanted me to know that they had secured all the funding to move forward with building out the rest of this development. They have a section of the Alpha Loop that they'll build that goes around their lake. But they're going to build, I think it was Toll Brothers is who they went under contract with to build the residential component as well as retail. They also have a grocer. Can't tell you who it is, but as soon as they announce who that is, we'll send that out. We also have Encore Park. You can see that that's located right at the entrance to the mall. They just came in. That's a Providence Group townhome product, and they just got their model townhome permits. So moving forward, even though there was some uncertainty with the mall as well as COVID, so they've just come in, Providence Group, and gotten their model home. So we're excited to see those go up. North Point Business Center at the corner. That was where they tore down the restaurants they're rebuilding. They had lost their tenants back in March. Those tenants are back. I think it's Snooze. It's a brunch place. There's one location I think that just opened in maybe Dunwoody, but they're from Denver. So they do have their tenants back. So they're moving forward. Chick-fil-A, don't be worried when Chick-fil-A gets torn down because they're coming back. So apparently Chick-fil-A just, tears down and rebuilds their businesses or restaurants that are about 20 years old. So you'll be seeing that rebuilt. Encore Commons, which is at the corner of Encore on here in North Point. They are working hard to give us an easement, which I'll show you in a few minutes, which will give us the connection to the Greenway. They're also working very hard to give us that easement because that was one of the requirements from council prior to them getting their permit to build some retail and small office at that corner. So they're ready to get started. Probably you may have read that the Studio Movie Grill, and gosh, really, all of us know how much they have suffered, all of the movie theaters. They've actually decided to close the one that they had located in Roswell, but they're going forward with this one. So this was kind of closed off for a while, but the latest the article and the communications we've had with them is that they're going to get back to this one. This is a really neat one. They're actually building this building and putting like a mural on the side of it. They're enhancing the connections to the Greenway, kind of building it for more of that the synergy and using the ties to the Greenway. So a lot going on. We also were awarded $1.6 million from the Atlanta Regional Commission for us to move forward with the design phase of the streetscape. And the streetscape is along North Point Parkway, of course, to get the wide sidewalks, to get the pedestrian connections. And we have a $400,000 match with that. This is really neat because if you're changing an older shopping center, of course, you've got to make it pedestrian friendly. So the whole plan for North Point is to get those, reduce the pavement, reduce the lane widths, make it to where people feel comfortable crossing and they have those connections that are to the Greenway. So I think with this one, I can't remember the timeline. It's out for bid. We've already gotten our qualified applicants in, so we're getting the final pricing for that design. Also wanted to just, if you hadn't heard, just let you know that council, when Brookfield went back through the process, council did require that they set aside land at North Point Mall for the future MARTA bridge connection. So that would be a pedestrian bridge that would be connected from the Alpha Loop over to North Point. So that's something that we've talked to MARTA. I think they're telling us 2026, 2028. We'll see when they get started with that, but that's something that we've kind of set that area up for the future, because that's where North Point is where we see the future density and kind of the synergy moving as we redevelop that area. And then I want to let you, I'm sure a lot of you have read that New York Life actually owns the mall now. We liked, working with Brookfield. They were great, but the issue with Brookfield owning it is they owned over 100 malls. So it's hard to put a lot of attention at this particular mall. Sometimes your company can be so large, it's hard to get started on these projects. And of course, COVID, everything that had happened, so they had to relook at what they had. New York Life took over the first week or second week of January. They put Trademark Properties in charge of the management of the redevelopment. If you get a chance, look at their company. This is actually the Trademark Properties. It's located in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas. They have been very aggressive in a good way. The mayor, council, staff, we've already had since January, 3-4 meetings with them. And Trademark Properties has been in touch. They're actually coming in here next week. We'll be in a work session for a couple of hours. But what I like about Trademark is they have about 17 different mixed-use projects that they've just done a phenomenal job if you get time to look on their website. So we're very excited about working with them. We do think it's going to be a larger project, and I really don't know when I say that. That's what they have said, but I don't have details on what that's going to entail. So right now they're saying all the right things. I'll tell you that. I just want to remind people too that the reason that we do believe in that future of North Point is because we found so many different. The green spaces are just going to be phenomenal. If you look at the success of what happened, with the Fourth Ward Stormwater Park, when we were looking at North Point and coming up for the vision, there's actually 13 acres right beside Sears and Penny's that you've probably seen a million times, but not realized that it actually has this beautiful, natural ponds. It's detention, but it's a very beautiful natural area. So as phase one, as the mall gets developed, phase one is to start that park development and really to start that energy there. And then all of the trail, the Alpha Loop, everything that we're planning, the $1.6 million streetscape, everything takes into account how do we connect to these assets that are going to be located at North Point. And then another big part of North Point is this is a blow up of that area that I was talking about earlier. So Encore Commons, Acesso, again, a partner in the community that said, when we go to them and say, hey, we have this vision that we'd like to connect from Encore, connect to the Greenway and have this connection that's very visible on board. Yes, how can we help? So it's what we have found is that the partnerships are what have gotten us some of these amazing projects. And we're not scared to ask. We may go ask, and you may tell us we're crazy, and that's okay too. But if anything that we can work together on is just going to be a better project. So this is about wrapped up to be able to get that easement, and then we'll move on to see what will that look like. Also, Windward, the mayor had mentioned, of course, that the FinTech Global Payments move there. That's a really big FinTech company. What we've done with Windward is actually just 2 weeks ago, we've started this monthly virtual meeting with the property owners, business owners, part of the Windward Business Association. Very receptive. And what we're doing is we're actually talking about how we can move forward, amenitizing Windward. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about where do the trail connections make sense, to make sure that we have connections and amenitize for the future. And I think I have a map on here in a minute to show you that. I want to make sure everybody's aware that the Hilton, of course, is getting ready to open. That's very exciting over there because we only have one full service hotel that's located there. So adding that Hilton is big for that area. Big Creek Greenway extension, of course, the tunnel was completed, and it's the rest of that Greenway extension is underway. So we expect that to be completed very soon, because it's something that's important to the city mayor and city council, is to make sure that we keep working on these extensions, the Big Creek extension. And then we've also been looking, just kind of going on to the trail concepts and the connections. We're actually working with another partner, North Fulton CID, to come up with a trail concept along ADP. So we're working with them to make sure that we secure that easement. And then below is the map. And, I can send this out. It's kind of hard to see all of it on the PowerPoint. But the Alpharetta Trail opportunities, that is going to be our master trail plan that we're looking at. And what that may not necessarily mean that we're going to go out and build all of these trails, but what it tells us is, as people come back in and redevelop, if we have a plan, we can say, well, we'll need that easement for the future trail. Or as people look at buying and maybe adding additional buildings, that we make sure that we set aside those easements that are needed. And we're just real excited about what we're doing with the Windward business owners. I think it's going to be a really good partnership as we move forward. And then finally, I want to make sure everyone knows we're working on our comprehensive land use plan. We just got an extension because of COVID, so we can have some more in-public meetings. So we're working on this until October. So we welcome any comments that you have. We've done a couple of exercises with, we've done a survey. We had an interactive map, but anything that you want to provide to us, and I'll make sure that I send kind of Deborah the announcements of when we're going to have those meetings, because we need to hear from you. And I thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Another reason to call us Awesome Alpharetta. That's exciting stuff on the horizon, most definitely. And I see Melody just told me that the Hilton is a new member of the Alpharetta Chamber. So welcome.
Awesome.
We welcome them. We welcome them aboard. Thank you very much. Let's get right into Morgan Rodgers, who's the director of the Alpharetta Recreation and Parks and Cultural Services. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. We are going to, I know we're starting to get pressed for a little bit of time, so I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. What I'd love to do is just put everybody on a bus and take a 3-hour tour of our park so I can show you all the exciting things that are happening in and around. But we don't have time to do that. So I think I've got about 7 minutes. So what I ask you to do is stay focused and pay attention, because we're going to try to move through this as quickly as we can. Let's see. Can somebody shake their head if they now see "Let the Fun Begin" on the screen?
Yes, sir. We see it. We see it.
All right, good. So we are the fun guys. We're, you know, our role in the department is with the city is to just make life as good as it can be, as much fun as it can be. If I could had something to tell my earlier self, I'd say really life should be about fun. And so that's our goal. We're going to try to make life as fun as we can. And so if you ask anybody about Alpharetta Recreation and Parks, the first thought they have is they basically think of Wills Park. And for some reason, my screen is not moving. Let me try it. They think of Wills Park. Think of Wills Park. And it, all right, folks, it worked earlier. There it is. So the mayor and council recently approved a master plan for Wills Park. We don't have time to get into the details of that, but we're basically going to take Wills Park. It's a 120 acre downtown park, and most cities don't have a park 120 acres in their downtown. So we're going to improve the visibility of the park, the connectivity of the park, and we're going to greatly improve the experience that our residents have in the park. Some of the things that we're doing or have done, we just recently opened the brand new Wills Park pool. If you haven't been to the pool at Wills Park in a couple of years, you really need to go. As they say, it's not your grandma's pool. We basically now have 3 pools. We have a leisure pool that has 0 depth entry and a huge slide. We have a competition pool with 10 lanes, and we have a spray ground for the little ones. So this summer, starting Memorial Day, come out and enjoy the pool. We also, we are really into partnerships. So I'm going to say that word a lot, partnerships, but this was a partnership here with Whole Foods. They used to be out on Hembry Road, and they've closed that location. This was a pavilion that sat out in front of their area between them and a Park Village group across the street from Wills. They gave us, Whole Foods gave it to us. Park Village moved it for us. And so we were able to move probably about a $220,000 pavilion, put it into the space there at Wills Park. And we call this relaxing, by the way, because we've got all kind of different chairs there that you can come out and just relax with everyone. Another big part of Wills Park is the Equestrian Center. We have a partnership now with the newly formed Wills Park Equestrian Foundation. They have raised $250,000, which the city is matching for $250,000, and we're getting ready to build a $500,000 brand new competition arena where the maintenance shop used to be there at the Wills Park Equestrian Center. And there's a lot more to come. The foundation and the city both have big plans for the Equestrian Center, and that partnership is going to unfold over the next couple of years, and we're really excited about that. Another new place around town is the Alpharetta Arts Center. Some people call this the old library. I've told people that this particular building was built as an art center, but they opened it as a library, and it didn't like being a library. So finally it grew up into an art center, and now it's one of the best art centers that around. If you haven't seen the exhibit space, if you haven't seen the black box, if you haven't seen the artwork, check out the Art Center. Lots of art in public places, and this is intentional. And again, we have a partnership with Arts Alpharetta and Arts Alpharetta, and we're allowing businesses, if they want to partner with us, to buy some of this, the public sculptures and leave it in place. If you're interested in putting your name on something like this, let me know. Another partnership that we had again with Whole Foods is, and I wish I had more time to talk a bit about the farm. I could talk about the farm for an hour and a half, but the farm was given to us by Whole Foods. It used to be out at Harry's Farmer Market where when Whole Foods bought it. And one day they called us and said, "Do y'all want the farm?" And we said yes. And the picture in the right left-hand corner, they moved that farm lock, stock, and barrel and dirt to Rucker Road. And now we have a farm out there that we are partner with Alpharetta Elementary School, Alpharetta High School, Cambridge High School, Northwind Community Charities in producing sometimes as much as 700 and 800 pounds of produce a week that's going to North Fulton Community Charities. This is a partnership we have with the Fulton County Board of Education at Alpharetta Elementary School. Alpharetta Elementary School had 25% of their students have special needs. They didn't have an adaptive playground. Through that partnership that included resurgence in North Fulton Hospital, we were able to completely redo the area out in front of the school. And now they have a place that's safe, accessible, and fun for the kids. And then during non-school hours, this is a community park that's open to everybody in the neighborhood. We recently developed the area on the east side of town, what was used to be called the Windward Soccer Complex. It was just a grass field. We now have a community park that has a playground, a trail, restrooms, pavilions, swings, and we just recently dedicated the Windward Community Park. Really a great place if you got kids, particularly between the ages of 4 and 10, and you want them to run and have a good time. It's a great place to take them, brand new playground. We also just opened our only indoor recreation facility on the east side of town in a partnership with the YMCA. We now have 3 rooms where we're going to be programming recreation and parks programs and arts programs on the east side of town. And that's an exciting partnership there at the Y. Play Me Again Pianos is a local organization who puts pianos in public spaces. We have a partnership with them. They find old pianos, they refurbish them, put them in public spaces, and they maintain them. So it's a great partnership. We have 7 pianos, and I will tell you, we're the only site in Georgia that has a baby grand piano outside that is always tuned. If you're a pianist and you want to come and play, this is where I would recommend you start. It's a great location. We also have a partnership with the Little Free Libraries. We're up to 8 Little Free Libraries in our parks right now. You take a book or leave a book. And it's really just like a little free library. They get a lot of use in our parks. Again, we have sponsorships available. If you want to put your business name or somebody you just want to own a little free library, call us. We can put one in for you. Kathi mentioned the Greenway, so I'm not going to spend much time on the Greenway, but I'll tell you that we have 5 access parks to get to the Greenway. So check out the Greenway. This is a picture of the extension that's going to go from Marconi to Union Hill that's going to be opening sometime this year. Thompson Street Park was built as a stormwater park. It's in the middle of the Alpha Loop that connects downtown and Avalon. Absolutely gorgeous park. And you can see the signs there for the Alpha Loop as well that connect that. Another park that was built by developers and given to the city is Encore Park, right across the street from the Ameris Bank Amphitheater VIP parking. It's a 7-acre park. And again, it was developed completely by the developers like it's supposed to be and then given to the city as a park. So check that out. I always have to give you a ta-da moment because we need more of those. Ta-da! And we just need more of those. But this slide is to tell you we have dance, we have gymnastics, we have art classes, we have karate classes. We have lots of things that would be interesting to you and your family. So check out one of our brochures and by, this time next week, you could be on that balance beam doing the ta-da. And I'd love to see some of y'all doing that. We got lots of sports. Sports have been, during the COVID, except for a couple of months, we were able to get the sports back, and they were a real blessing to a lot of people. And then I put this one in to remind everybody that you need to keep your eye on the ball. So this young lady is out at North Park, and you can see she's getting ready to catch the ball. You see where her eyes focus, and you see she caught the ball because she kept her eye on the ball. So we all need to keep our eye on the ball. My eyes are always on the fun, so I'm going to always talk about that. Skate park, a pop-up skate park. So this used to be an old hockey rink, street hockey rink. And in the period of about 5 weeks, we went from an old hockey rink to a skate park for our skateboarders and inline skaters. And it's out at Union Hill. What you see there is a mural project that were done by high school students as part of that project. I just want to briefly talk about our relationship with Northside Hospital, because I really think it is the essence of what a partnership can be. Northside gave us over 3 years, $50,000 a year for 3 years. And 10,000 of that had to go to free classes. And so we have been having free fitness classes all around the city of Alpharetta, and we continue to have those. Because of that, we were able to develop a partnership now with most of the fitness businesses in town so that they can do some free classes in our park. And so if you have a fitness related business and you want to do some free classes, call us. We have all of that set up. During the month of October, we had 120 free classes in the single month. We also, so I told you 10,000 of the 50 per year of Northside went to programs. The other 40%, $40,000 per year went for infrastructure. So we were able to put in 2 outdoor fitness programs in our parks. This one, it was at Webb Ridge, and this one is at behind the Wills Park Recreation Center. So those were paid entirely by the grants the donation that we got from the hospital. And we have 1 more year that we've got money to spend with them. And I always like to show this in as I'm wrapping up. This was a picture that I took just on an evening at Wills Park Equestrian Center. So I can't promise you that sunset will be there every time you visit our parks, but I promise you, if you look around, you'll always see something just about as beautiful in our park. And I'm going to leave you with 3 things that you should live your life by. Look good, be cool, and have fun. And what I mean by that, look good as much as your resources can let you. You know, if you have so much resources, you need to look as good as you can. Be cool. And cool is defined by you, by the way. It's not by Facebook, not by TikTok. It's what you think is cool. So be cool. And above everything else, have fun in your life, because none of us are getting out of this alive, so we might as well have fun. So I'm done.
Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da.
And that's as quick as I can do it, folks.
All right. Well, thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Kathi, and of course, the mayor. I'm going to hand it over to Deborah because I know she has a couple of announcements, and we want to be very respectful of everyone's time, and we're close to 9 o'clock. So Deborah, if you have any announcements, and if there's any time after that, we might be able to squeeze in a question, but back to you.
Well, thank you. I don't see myself, and that's okay, as long as you all hear just a little bit of information. Certainly want to thank our mayor, Jim Gilvin, Kathi Cook, amazing in the area of economic development. It's just wonderful to hear that update. So many great things going on. And Morgan, this is going to be my life verse right here. I want to look good, I want to be cool, and I definitely want to have fun. Thank you all so much. I just want to make sure you all are aware that on February 17th, we will be at the main event off of Davis Drive, a huge facility. We're going to have our Wednesday social. We want to be out, we want to connect. And so we want to invite you all as members and as our guests. If you're not a member yet, we'd love to talk to you about how you can become a member of the chamber, but join us on February 17th at the Wednesday social. And again, hats off to the City of Alpharetta and all your hard work. I've been in the 23 years. I have 3 sons that are now grown, and to think of all the experiences through the park at the old Milton High School. Wow, we got a Shake Shack coming. That's amazing. So always changing, always developing. Yet it has that amazing warm feeling of a city that's been here a long time and a community that cares about one another. I look forward to connecting with you all. We will make sure that presentation is available to you. We've recorded this, so stay tuned. And again, any last words, Rick?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much. Enjoyable. I think I'll come back next month to do it all.
Okay, I'll have you next month, and stay tuned. We've got a great Coffee and Commerce in store for you all. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you again.